Are Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni's careers over, or can they find a way out of this scandal? Kristin Cavallari is back on reality TV, and she's airing everybody's dirty laundry. Meghan Markle may not be a duchess, but she wants to be your TikTok dancing queen. And now she's got the haters wondering if she was ever really pregnant, or was she faking her pregnancy with Lily? And today, I'm on a new mission to free the fries. I hope you're ready for it. We've got Billy Bush. We've got Daniel Forouzan. We've got a lot to get into. Let's dive in. You're listening to No Filter with Zack Peter, your go-to source for all the latest pop culture and reality TV tea, served fresh all week long. Now, let's dive in. What's up, guys? Welcome on in. Welcome on in. Welcome on in. We have so much we're going to get into today. Like I said, Billy Bush from Hot Mics. The Hot Mics podcast. I've been on it a number of times. He's going to be on the podcast in just a bit. And then, as promised, I know yesterday we were supposed to have on Daniel Forouzan. He wasn't able to make it, but he will be popping in today to talk about Blake Lively, her amicus briefs, her withdrawing her emotional distress claims. Daniel had a lot to say, and so I figured we were chatting back and forth about it. I like to pick his brain, so I figured why not have him on today to get into all of it. But what's crazy is, so last night I went to dinner. I was running all over yesterday, and then even today we running all over again. I have to tape the Pop Report. We're taping our 100th episode, so be sure to tune in and continue to support the Pop Report. It's crazy that we've been doing it for a year, and 100 episodes later, the show is still growing and going strong. So thank you guys for supporting the Pop Report, and of course, being here on No Filter and supporting me always. I appreciate it. But yes, chefs all over the place. And then I had a cousin who was in town from Houston, and my mom's like, let's take her to dinner. So we go to dinner, and I ended up taking her to Cara Cara. It's the rooftop restaurant at the Proper Hotel in downtown LA. And so I went, and I was so excited because I love going to Cara Cara, and it's such a gorgeous view. I go there quite often. It's maybe been a couple weeks since I've been there, but I guess they changed their menu because I went to order the steak, and I was just like, I noticed that there were no fries listed next to the steak. And I'm like, am I going crazy? And then I asked, I was like, does the steak come with fries? And the waiter's like, actually, we changed the menu. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, can I get a side order of fries? And he's like, well, technically, we're no longer using seed oils. I don't know what that had to do with anything, which listen, I'm all about it. Maha me up, take out the seed oils, get inflammation out of my body. If I'm going to eat fries, like, yeah, no more inflammation. But so I ended up so I was like, "Can I get the steak with the side of fries?" And he's like, "No, if you want the fries, you have to order the burger." And I was like, "Okay." I go, "But so you have fries or you don't have fries?" He's like, "Yes, technically we do have fries, but the only way you can get the fries is if you order the fries with the burger." And I was like, "Okay." I was like, "So you have the fries and they're in the kitchen, but I'm not allowed to order them as a side dish. I have to order them as the main dish?" Or but only one main dish, and the main dish has to be the burger. Was very confused. I was like trying to comprehend and understand what he was saying. And he was like, you know what? Let me ask if you can order a side of fries. And I was like, okay, great. Thank you. I really appreciate that. So he goes, and I don't know who he asked, but he comes back and he's like, yeah, so you can't order a side of fries. You have to order the burger. And I was like, okay, well, then I guess in this case, since you're going to tariff my fries, can I have the steak and the burger? I'll order two dishes. I'll pay for two dishes. I just want my fries. And so he's like, okay, yeah, we'll do that. You can. It was the stupidest thing. And then I was like, but I don't want the bun and I don't want any cheese. And I was like, well, I'll just up my macros and get in my extra protein and, do the damn thing. And I did, but I had to order the burger in order to get the side of fries. I couldn't just order a side of fries with my steak. It was the strangest thing. And then finally at the end of the meal, I get the bill, and then I realized that they also slapped on a 6% wellness fee. I was like, who's what wellness am I paying for the beef tallow that you had to fry my fries in when you wouldn't even give me a side of fries? I was like, listen, I'm down for the Maha movement, but I'm not down for whatever you're trying to do here. And what is the wellness fee for? I was like, you know what? Your tip is going to be the $30 burger and fries that I had to order that I didn't want to, and then the 6% wellness fee. There's your tip. Why are we like? I like to tip my waiters. I like to tip my servers, but then when the restaurant tackles on all this extra bullshit, I'm just like, no, not today, say, and not today. So I'm on a mission to free the fries. I'm happy that we're frying them in beef tallow now. I'll write a letter of thank you to RFK, but as of right now, just give me my damn fries. I just want my fries. I want a side of fries. Sometimes I just want fries. I do that often. So yeah. Okay, we have a quick reality roundup, and then Daniel Forouzan should be calling in shortly. But yeah, reality roundup. Kristin Cavallari, she's on, I guess, her press tour for her new show. It's called Honestly Cavallari. She used to have Very Cavallari. Prior to that, she was on The Hills and she was on Laguna Beach. So honestly, Cavallari is, I guess, the behind the scenes of her um, podcast tour. She went on, I think it was a 6-city podcast tour. She did 6 cities in 1 week. Had a bunch of guests in them: Kim Zolciak, Craig Conover, Austin Kroll, Harry Jowsey, the cast of Laguna Beach. She did like a high school reunion with them. So it's interesting because normally Kristin Cavallari like doesn't do a ton of interviews. She doesn't like to spill any tea. We don't ever see her kids, but there's been like this entire shift in Kristin Cavallari because now she's coming out swinging. She's spilling tea. She's calling out Lo Bosworth from The Hills. I was like, wait, nobody's even talking about Lo since she came out with um her vitamin line. What was it? Love Wellness, whatever. But she's dragging Low, and then apparently she's outing that she hooked up with Craig Conover and Glen Powell. Glen Powell from Top Gun. And I was like, "Oh, that's actually a hot couple." And then her bestie slash co-host Justin Anderson, he was like, "I was rooting for them to be a thing, and they didn't end up being a thing." But he absolutely, I'm with Justin Anderson, and where I know he and I see eye to eye with the Blake Lively stuff too. But I'm like, Justin, I see you. I would love to see Kristen go all the way with Glen Powell. But apparently she also hooked up with Craig Conover, but I guess Craig was also dating Paige at the same time, or like just starting to date, and she saw a photo of them together in New York, and Krista was like, "Yeah, nah, I'm good. I'm definitely gonna pivot. I'm not gonna jump all in with that one." Craig's a cutie. I don't know if Craig I could see Kristen with Craig. I just feel like Kristen's a little too strong of a personality for Craig Conover. But I don't know. I don't know if I like them together. I don't know how I'm feeling about the two of them. But we'll see. We shall see. Ooh, someone made a good point saying that if Army Hammer can come back, if Mel Gibson can come back, then maybe Blake Lively can come back too. Well, I don't know. We'll see. I'm actually excited to have Billy Bush on the show because he's kind of had his comeback, right? He got canceled. He kind of went away for a while. He wasn't on TV for a minute. He came back on TV. Now he's got a podcast. And so I'm curious to see what his take is on this. I guess Blake and Baldoni. Like, I wanna know what he thinks about both of them and what Justin should do in order to kind of win back the good graces of the people. But also in the reality roundup, I watched Bravo's new Next Gen NYC. I did it for you. Not really, actually, I did it for Kate Casey. I'm on her podcast. We taped it yesterday, but I believe it's airing tonight. It's gonna be like the Friday episode, but it drops, I believe, tonight, Thursday night. So you'll be able to catch me on Reality Life with Kate Casey. Love me some Kate Casey, but so she had me watch Next Gen so that we could talk about Next Gen. And I've got to say, I'm actually surprised at how much I liked this show a lot more than I was expecting to like this show. Um, yeah. Oh wow, it looks like we have a Secret Lives of Mormon Wives reunion. That's interesting. Huh. I didn't know we were getting a reunion. As long as just please tell me we didn't have Nick Viall host this damn reunion. I'm over Nick Viall. Next Gen NYC, it's a lot better than I expected. I'll be on Kate Casey's show, so you can get more into my thoughts on that. So, but it was better than I expected. I think the most compelling piece was seeing Ariana Bierman and having her talk about, because obviously we watched her grow up on Real Houses of Atlanta, but then now watching Kim and Croy and all of their financial mess, and now she's opening up on Next Gen NYC, talking about how she used to help her parents pay the bills, and even now Kim Zolciak still reaches out to her for money. Very interesting. I very much enjoyed it. Like it was fine. I don't know if it's going to hold the audience. I don't really know who the audience is because I feel like the Bravo audience is so much older. And Kate and I do have a really good discussion about reality TV and like where it's going next. But yeah, I don't know. Not fully invested, but I'll give it maybe a couple more weeks. Um, all right. let's give some love to this week's sponsor, and then we're going to bring on Daniel Forouzan, who's going to talk to us all about the Blake and Baldoni. I have questions about the amicus briefs. I have questions about her withdrawing her claims for emotional distress. She seems to be a little all over the place. I'm hoping his legal insight can give us a little more. I mean, I guess it may be a little scary to get inside the mind of Blake Lively, but hopefully he's got something that we can that will enlighten us with what could potentially be going on behind the scenes. But first, are you sick of drinking your calories? Are you sick of waking up hungover? Having some drinks can be fun, yes, but I'm glad I found an alternative that lets me feel great in the moment and the next morning, and that's out of office gummies from Soul. You know, I love me my Soul out of office gummies because they're delicious, and you can also dose yourself. You can do a mild buzz to a light high. You can also get a full social buzz without the hangover. Soul is a wellness brand that believes feeling good should be fun and easy. Soul specializes in delicious hemp-derived THC and CBD products designed to boost your mood and help you unwind. Their best-selling out-of-office gummies were designed to provide a mild, relaxing buzz, boost your mood, and enhance creativity and relaxation. And if you like their out-of-office gummies, then you've got to try their new out-of-office beverages. It's a refreshing, alcohol-free alternative, perfect for summer sipping. Plus, Soul has so many other amazing wellness products that you can try with or without THC, including a variety of gummies and capsules that can help improve sleep, stress, pain, focus, bloating, and more. So, if you want to bring on the good vibes this summer, treat yourself to some Soul today. That's SOUL Soul. Right now, Soul's offering my audience 30% off your entire order. Go to Get Soul, that's GETSOUL, getsoul.com, and use code NOFILTER. That's getsoul.com, promo code no filter for 30% off. Go lock in those savings. Also, guys, just as a reminder, if you have not done so yet, you're going to want to get your tickets to my tour. The Zactivated Tour kicks off July 11th. July 11th, I'm coming to Dallas. July 13th, I'm coming to Phoenix. July 23rd, I'll be in Philly. July 24th, I'll be in Toronto. July 26th, I'll be in Brooklyn. July 27th, I'll be in Chicago. August 8th, I'll be in Seattle. And August 10th, I'll be rounding things out in Los Angeles. Lots of fun stuff that we discussing on tour. Lots of your favorite content creators are going to be joining me on stage. Some of your favorite reality stars are going to be joining me on stage. So it's going to be a yummy, yummy summer, never with teeth. So head on over to nofilterlive.com and get your tickets. Dallas, Phoenix, Philly, Toronto, Brooklyn, Chicago, Seattle, Los Angeles. The Zactivated Tour kicks off July 11th. Go to nofilterlive.com. All right, now let's get to our first special guest of the day. He's got lots of yummy legal advice that I'm hoping he'll enlighten us with today. Please welcome back onto the podcast, Mr. Daniel Forouzan.
Good morning, Zack. Thank you for having me again.
How are you?
Not bad. This is the craziest case I have ever seen.
Truly. Well, before we get into the Blake, I really quickly want to get your reaction to Tom Girardi's sentencing. Over 7 years, sentenced to prison. They did not give him a care facility like he was requesting. He's going into the clinker. Thoughts?
Probably deserves it. I hate to
Yeah.
say it. It's hard to say to an old man, hey, you deserve to go to jail. But from my understanding, and it's the same thing I said last time I was here, I don't think this was his first rodeo at Ripoff Town. It really seems like he's been doing this for decades. And, is it sad that he's going to jail at this point in his life? It looks awful for an old man to stumble into jail like that. But maybe he should have gone sooner.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he was fighting it as much as he could, but he'd ultimately lost at the end of the day. Camone, the CFO, he's going to prison too. And I think, the case at least is finally rounding out. For those that don't remember, Daniel Forouzan was the last person to interview Tom Girardi on his podcast, Schmoozin' with Forouzan, which I believe is still available on YouTube if people want to watch it. But yeah, he was the last person to interview Tom Girardi in October before Erica filed for divorce in December of 2020. So it was literally a matter of weeks from when he sat down with Daniel to give his interview to then the house of cards came tumbling down, and since then he's been facing this legal battle. We finally had a trial. He was found guilty. He was fighting it. Now he's going to prison for 7 years and 3 months, I believe. Crazy. Let's talk Blake Lively. So obviously this legal saga has been playing out since December of 2024. So we're now about 6-ish months into the not even at trial yet. We're just now getting into discovery. But so the biggest news that came out is that she is withdrawing her claims of emotional distress, both intentional and negligent. What are your thoughts on that? Obviously, she accused Baldoni of harassment, retaliation. She said that he ran a retaliatory media campaign against her, came out in the New York Times. So many other details have come out about how she was able to obtain his text messages, this Van Zandt shell company lawsuit that she filed secretly and used that to obtain his text messages and then threw that in the New York Times. But so we're seeing as we're getting deeper into discovery, she's kind of fighting giving up any sort of evidence. My understanding is it was her medical records this time that they were requesting. She didn't want to turn those over, even though she did fight for an attorney's eyes only protection of those medical records a couple months ago. So, what's your reaction to seeing her now withdraw these two claims of emotional distress?
Okay, so let's go over what actually happened here and what these allegations mean. Blake Lively files a lawsuit with several claims, one of them being NIED, another one being IIED, negligent infliction of emotional distress, along with intentional infliction of emotional distress. Now, NIED is a very specific cause of action. It applies to potentially very unique circumstances. For example, if the body of a loved one is lost by a morgue or during transit, that might be an NIED claim. An IIED claim indicates that some kind of outrageous conduct had occurred and it was so ridiculous that it inflicted emotional distress intentionally. So one is negligent infliction of emotional distress, one is intentional infliction of emotional distress. Okay, Blake Lively brings a lawsuit with these causes of action. Now, typically, you and me, Zach, and everyone listening has privileges and privacy and all sorts of stuff. The California Constitution gives you privacy. The United States Constitution gives you privacy. And between you and me, I think privacy is a good thing just from my understanding of constitutional law. However, when you bring a lawsuit and you're alleging that, hey, sir, you have intentionally and negligently caused me emotional distress, well, at that point, you open the door a bit on your privacy.
Right.
And what happened here is the attorneys served requests for production of documents as well as special interrogatories on Blake Lively saying, hey, identify all your medical providers related to these issues. And it looks like Blake Lively didn't want to do that. Now, from my understanding, there was conversation between the attorneys where Blake Lively said, hey, look, I will withdraw my IIED claims and my NIED claims. Let's just let this whole thing, this little, fishing expedition about my medical records, the identity of my medical providers, let's let that go. I will dismiss these claims. However, the devil's in the details. They offered to dismiss them without prejudice. Are you familiar with what I'm talking about, Zach?
Yep. We chatted about the difference between with and without prejudice yesterday because Baldoni's team, to my understanding, wanted to make sure that these claims were withdrawn or dismissed with prejudice, that she couldn't bring them forth in the future. She wanted to kind of have the option to bring these claims up, or at least, kind of leave that open should she want to explore that down the line.
Yes. In my personal opinion, if you're going to say, hey, look, I brought this lawsuit and we have these two claims and we are alleging X, Y, and Z, you then serve discovery to investigate those allegations. I then say, hey, I'm going to withdraw. Well, at that point, you probably should withdraw with prejudice because it kind of feels like a flip flop game if you don't. Now, let me be
Yeah.
clear about something. Even if it was withdrawn without prejudice, the statute of limitations would still apply. However, if we're within the statute of limitations and they dismiss without prejudice, well, 2 months later, they can bring the cause of action back again. They can amend their
Yeah.
lawsuit. Now, someone will say, well, Daniel, what's the big deal? They bring it, they don't bring it. Because if they remove these allegations, if they remove these causes of action, and then 2 months later they bring those causes of action back, it restarts the whole process of
Right.
discovery. So they'll have to reserve discovery, which 35 days to respond. They're going to ask for an extension. That 35 days becomes 60 days. They're going to serve discovery responses. Discovery responses are going to be garbage. Opposing counsel is going to have to meet and confer on those. Now we're 90 days in. Now maybe you get a supplemental response, which is also no good. And then you have to file a motion with the court. So I think what Baldoni's lawyers are saying, hey, either do it or get off the pot here. Either you
Right.
have emotional distress claims and you're willing to evidence them, or you don't. And I got to be honest with you, I'm sympathetic with Baldoni's lawyers in this case.
So, what do you think this means for her case, though? Like, is it standard for somebody? Because I was shocked, because, in my opinion, the way that the most legacy media has been covering her case, it's been more favorable to her, understandably. She, one, is positioning herself as the victim in this case, and two, she's the bigger celebrity. Her and Ryan
Mm.
Reynolds, there's more of a vested interest for them to protect the relationships, the media to protect the relationships with Blake and Ryan. Baldoni's nothing to them. He doesn't drive clicks the way that her and Reynolds would moving forward. So I understood why they favored her. They covered her more favorably. But I was surprised to see, even I believe it was Variety this week, said that this was an unusual thing for somebody in her position to do, to withdraw these claims, considering going into this, she should have expected to have had to turn over those medical records regardless, especially considering she fought for her attorney's size only protection of those medical records. So Baldoni wouldn't have access to them. Obviously, if there's something relevant that would come up at trial. But it just seemed like a really strange move that, to me, in my own layman's view of it, made me think maybe she wasn't expecting it to ever get this far.
Yeah, that would suggest that, wouldn't it? Because at the end of the day, her lawyers knew and her lawyers advised her that if we are bringing claims that have emotional distress, it opens the door for investigation into your emotional distress.
Right.
After all, how do you go in front of a jury and say, hey, this person caused me all this emotional distress? There's different ways of evidencing emotional distress. You could have friends and family come and explain what's going on. However, another way of doing it is showing medical records, mental health
Right.
records, which are typically private and privileged. Another element that has to be understood, just because you have emotionally injured someone doesn't mean they didn't have pre existing emotional injuries as well. Think of it this way. If I go in, I get into a car accident, I say, hey, you screwed up my back. I want to be compensated for my back because of this car accident. The defense is going to come and say, okay, well, did you have any pre existing injuries to your back? And they're going to want 10 years of pre existing medical records. When we're talking about emotional injuries, now you're talking about potentially pre existing mental health records. And
Right.
to answer your question, I have seen a lot of fuss made on the internet. Oh, she withdrew this claim. It's this and that. To be honest with you, in my opinion, not that big of a deal. IIED and NIED are sort of throwaway claims. We include them in a lot of lawsuits, but rarely are they the movers and the shakers. The sexual harassment allegations, in contrast, come with attorney fees under FIHA. And as I said before, that has aggressive teeth. So, in my humble opinion, is it a big deal that they're kicking these out? Not so much, but to bring it back to your point, Zach, it does beg the question: why did they bring them in the first place?
Right. Me myself says there's no way Blake is going to be able to prove damages without the emotional distress evidence. True or false?
Well, damages are economic and non-economic. So if she has economic damages, that's one thing. If she has non-economic damages, well, that's emotional distress, pain and suffering, humiliation, anguish, anxiety, etc., etc. And can they be proven without medical records? Sure. You can have a family member come in and say, look, my husband was like this before the accident. Now, after the accident, he's a different way. I have clients who have had brain injuries and their spouses come and they say, hey, look, he can't smell the food anymore that I'm making it. The food doesn't taste the same to him now that he's had a brain injury. His personality is different. So you can evidence it that way.
Right. Now, two quick questions, because we have Billy Bush that's going to be joining us in just a sec. But um, first up, amicus briefs. We've seen a number of different amicus briefs that have been filed in the last week or so. A number of organizations, other people that claim to have similar stories to Blake Lively. They are survivors or victims themselves. They are filing these amicus briefs in support of her motion to be dismissed from Baldoni's lawsuit. Is it standard? My understanding is amicus briefs are maybe more relevant during trial, but not so much during the discovery phase, and not necessarily to get dismissed from a lawsuit. Is this standard for amicus briefs to be used in this way?
It can be. It really, that's a big one in terms of it depends. At times they will come at this point. At times they will come later. In a situation like this, when we're in the discovery stage, Zach, I would agree with you. It is a little soon, but let's not kid ourselves. This is not just being done in a court of law. This is being done in the court of public opinion. So
Right.
every move by every attorney on both sides here is more than just legal strategy. It's PR strategy.
It's interesting because people have started to look in. We got like I think yesterday there was an amicus brief filed from Child USA, and they're on a mission to end child abuse. And people are like, what does that have to do with justice for Blake Lively? Like, it was just, it's strange. I was saying, I was joking. I was like, who's next? The American Red Cross is going to come out and file an amicus brief for Blake Lively because she's burning her career to the ground. Um, Advice. What advice would you give legally if this were your client and this is kind of playing out and you can see it publicly and you can also see, her case doesn't seem to be standing on strong foundation from what we're able to see from the outside looking in. What advice would you give to Blake Lively if this were your client?
So my clients in my office don't pay me hourly fees. I take a contingency fee from what my clients give me, what I get from my clients. So if I get my clients $1 million, I take $400,000. I only take cases if I think there's a real case there. There's a difference, however, if you're paying your lawyers hourly, which is what Blake Lively is doing. The
Right.
lawyer can tell her, Miss Lively, I don't think this is a great lawsuit. I think you're on iffy grounds. Blake says, I don't care. Here's a $35,000 retainer. Do what I say. So the attorneys must advise their clients. And look, if it's a shaky lawsuit, you can advise your client that it's shaky. But what's she going to do? She'd have to swallow a lot of pride before dismissing it. And here we're seeing a small dismissal. It's hard to say exactly what's going on behind closed doors, but I have to imagine this is anxiety inducing for all the parties.
Would you advise your client to take this all the way to trial, or would you say, hey, it's probably best we settle before things get messy? I mean, we're seeing, with the high profile nature of some of the other, people that are being dragged into this. Taylor Swift was a big conversation last week and the week or the weeks prior, and now she's kind of ditched Blake and moved on from all of this. But settlement or a trial, what do you think?
It depends on Blake Lively's stomach, how much she can take. It's ultimately the client's decision. But look, if my client had a rough case, even if she was paying me hourly, I'd be like, you do not want to put this in front of a jury if you don't have a good
Right.
case, because there's a bunch of behind the scenes stuff that we don't know about yet. It will
Yeah.
come out at the jury trial. And if the case is no good, why humiliate yourself?
Yeah. It is interesting. I mean, and the fact that she even withdrew these claims because she didn't want her medical records out, to me, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like she never expected it to really get this far. And the fact that there's more digging that's happening, I feel like they're trying to lean more into the technicalities. They're fighting very hard for this opportunity to be dismissed from Baldoni's lawsuit. To my understanding, dismissals aren't common.
No, it would be tough. You would have to file a motion for summary judgment to get yourself excluded from the lawsuit. And the standard on MSJ is very high. You have to show a judge that no reasonable juror would believe these claims. And there is no evidence that a reasonable juror could use to accept these claims. And at that point, the judge can kick it out. Now, let's say a judge kicks something out on MSJ. What's the first thing the lawyers are going to do once it's kicked out? Appeal. It goes to an appeals court, another 2 years of this and that. And then if the appeals court says, no, this shouldn't have been kicked out, it goes back to the trial court. And then the trial judge is embarrassed for dismissing it in the first place. So dismissals are not common.
Not common, and she likely won't be getting dismissed. Her, Ryan Reynolds, Leslie Sloan, the New York Times, I think they're all moving forward with this lawsuit. We're gonna see it play out. We have discovery, we have, depositions that are happening in July and August, and then we have trial set for March. I'm sure we'll have you back many other times to help us break down lots more of the legal drama, at least from a lawyer's perspective. Daniel, thanks for coming back on the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right, guys. Now we have the one and only Billy Bush that's going to be joining us in just a sec from the Hot Mics podcast. You've seen me on his podcast before. He's back. Now he's on my show, and he's here to break down more of this yummy Blake Lively drama. But now that we've had the legal perspective, let's see if Billy can help save her reputation here in Hollywood. Billy Bush, welcome to No Filter.
Oh, no filter. Zach, it is great to see you, my friend. I had to struggle with it said I didn't have Chrome. I was fighting to get into the room. I'm here. Thank you for your patience. How you doing, babe?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm sitting in my little office here in a beautiful backyard. It's overcast. It's a nice day in Los Angeles.
So we just had on Daniel Forouzan, who's an attorney. He specializes in a lot of these cases. He was talking about Blake's legal case, but I'm curious what you think about her career here in Hollywood. Obviously, we got the news of her withdrawing her emotional distress claims. What was your reaction?
Yeah, I think her career, I think about the two of them and where they go after this, because it seems very likely that it goes all the way to March 2026. I think Blake has dug in too far. She's past the point of no return, right? I don't think she can now say, you know what, I am sorry. I did try to Bigfoot this project. I wanted to be a Reese Witherspoon, type more than just an actress. She sees herself as something bigger. And she thought she could roll this guy because, he's a lightweight. He's second on the call sheet from Jane the Virgin, not even first. So let's just roll this dude, take the project. And the difference is Baldoni has Steve Sarowitz backing him up on every single front. When Hulk Hogan won his big defamation suit against Gawker, he had a quiet backer in Peter Thiel, the billionaire, who was still pissed off at Gawker for outing him in his sexuality. And he was like, that's not your right to do that. And he waited in the reeds for like 8 years. And then he came back and funded quietly Hulk Hogan, who buried Gawker and put him out of business. But it was Peter Thiel's wallet. Baldoni has that with Sarowitz. And that's what's going to take this all the way to the end for them. And I think Baldoni will continue making movies. You saw Wayfarer. I mean, they just did Scarlett Johansson's directorial debut, debuting at Cannes Film Festival, and Jamie Heath was over there, and Jen Abel, the publicist, is with him on the carpet. That business goes forward. On the acting front, who knows? But Baldoni's a real creator and producer. He was brilliant to get this material in 2019. As for Blake, you can't put that genie back in the bottle. People know she's a pain in the ass to work with. She has said it herself.
Yeah, I mean, not only that, though, but I mean, I don't know what production would employ her at this point, considering how litigious she's been, not just with another actor on the set, but she went after the director slash the head of the production company that was producing It Ends With Us. And I think, to your point, she thought that she would be able to get away with it because she probably bulldozed Baldoni quite a bit on the set and he would just roll over, that she didn't think he would come back swinging. But I think her biggest mistake was coming after Sarowitz, too.
Yeah, she didn't realize that Sarowitz was going to be like, spare nothing. I've got your back the whole way. She thought for sure Baldoni didn't have the, he would roll. But Sarowitz is, boy, brothers in Baha'i, huh? Must be to never leave your brothers behind. I don't know.
She did include in her CRD complaint, though, that Sarowitz threatened to, destroy her with $100 million. So obviously she knew he had deep pockets. So the fact that she was so brazen enough to even take this shot.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. But she was pissed. Something else I look at that I don't really know that it's stuck, but there was a truce when the movie was coming out in August. I guess it was like 13th or something like that. When the movie came out, there was this truce amongst the two camps who were clearly ratcheting up and fighting, and they had a truce in all events. And then Stephanie Jones allegedly contacted the Daily Mail and was like trying to show Wayfarer, who was leaving her as a client, like, look at me, I'm involved. I'm not just taking care of Tom Brady and Scooter Braun and The Rock and my other big clients. And she sort of engaged the Daily Mail reporter when Wayfarer had said, hey, we don't want this. Lay back, don't do anything. And that kicked it into high gear. So Wayfarer didn't want to be the ones to escalate when there was a truce. But Stephanie, allegedly, did it on their behalf. And so it infuriated them. And that's why they, threw her out then and
And
there.
I've always thought that she was likely not just the catalyst in that moment, but I think she's the one that convinced Blake's team of this alleged smear campaign. She's the one that delivered the text messages to them and said, look, because I mean, as we've seen in Jennifer Abel's lawsuit against her, she claims that, the allegation is that Stephanie was showing Abel's text messages to other people in the office to poison them against Jennifer Abel for leaving. And so I would imagine, I mean, obviously we know about the Van Zandt subpoena and that shady lawsuit, and that's kind of how they legally obtained the text messages, but I would imagine they've seen them and reviewed them, and it was probably a cute little PowerPoint idea that Stephanie Jones came to them and told them this whole retaliatory campaign started, which to me is an easy way for Blake to get out of this, is for her to throw it back on Stephanie and say, listen, she came to us, she sold us on this idea, we believed her.
Oh yeah, no, Zach, absolutely, great point. I mean, that's Blake's only move is to throw some of these terrible publicists, because we all know underneath it all, there's some publicists who are absolutely terrible, incorrigible people. And I'm certain, by the way, as a guy that's been kicked in the teeth by publicists for 20 years, on entertainment news, television, do I enjoy a little of the comeuppance? I mean, I've had arguments. I've fought with Leslie Sloan on the phone a million times. I've said, you're a mean person. If you were nicer to people, this wouldn't be happening. Stephanie Jones, I had a battle royale with her, screaming. And I'm saying, you stop going. I mean, we're going nuts on this. These people are wild. And now everybody knows who they are. They used to be the puppet. They used to pull the strings behind the curtain. And now they're all out there. But if Blake Lively, to your point, throws, Stephanie Jones under the bus, like apparently Tom Brady just did and some others, it might be a good move, her only move.
I think it's her only move. It's the only thing that saves her, and to a degree also kind of saves her reputation, because she can be like, I genuinely believe this and I fought so hard. And this saves everybody, right? Ryan Reynolds gets to be saved because he's like, I just believed my wife. The New York Times gets to be saved because they're like, we just believed Blake. And Blake can just be like, her and Leslie Sloan can get out of this being like, we believed Stephanie Jones. She gave us the text messages, and this is exactly how we did it. And we trusted that she was telling us the truth.
And she's ripe right now. She's ripe she's ripe to be the fall guy, because apparently Tom Brady doesn't like all the attention that's going on here. There's a report that he pulled out, and they're in the middle of a 60-day window right there as to for his exit. And then of course she's got the lawsuits with Abel and Melissa Nathan, and I've looked at a bunch of those receipts. I can tell you one thing for sure. When I looked at Stephanie Jones in her complaint, added this element there that, she would take things out of context. And then I looked at the text in their full context, which I asked Abel and Nathan for. And in there, she's like, examples like, we're going to war. This is amazing. Jones is going, they're saying it. They're going to war against my company. Look what they did. They're actually trying to take me down. No. They were saying we're going to war, when you look at the context, with Blake Lively, who just handed us a statement that she and Ryan wrote for Jamie and Justin to release to the world, taking blame for everything that has happened. No, we're going to war with Blake because she's trying to extort Justin. And it's like all these, everyone's got lawyers and everyone's taking things out, but Stephanie is ripe at this point.
She's the easiest fall guy in all of this. And easy collateral damage, because she already doesn't have a good reputation. And public, the audience, nobody has an emotional attachment to her. Nobody was a fan of Blake, like on Gossip Girl. Like people had a history with Blake. They have a history with Ryan. They're now introduced to Justin and are empathetic towards him. But like nobody cares about Stephanie Jones. She's the most disposable one in all of this, that if they just decide to throw her under the bus, like I think it saves everybody at this point.
But you got to call it out when it happens, because as Stephanie Jones, we're saying it right now. We say, okay, to be fair, Blake just did that as a move. She just threw Jones under the bus. Jones didn't, the beginning and the threats, if you look at, the smartest thing in all of this that Brian Friedman ever did was that 170-page website where we see all the receipts and all the exchanges, and you see Blake threatening, I want my edits. I get an editing session. She never even showed up for the second edit. I'm gonna, she went down with COVID many times, and of course took off to London, and she was with Ryan. Ryan showing up saying, "Justin, I need you to alter your production schedule so it fits into Deadpool." I mean, bigfooting this guy all over the place. All of that documentation shows you that this began with Blake Lively. So,
Yeah.
in the end, we know she can't undo that.
Yeah. Crystal says that there was an article about Blake wanting to rebuild her girl squad now that Taylor's gone. We've seen Taylor kind of just completely, that dragon flew the cave real fast, isn't looking back. We hear that she's ghosting Blake. She's not responding to her text messages, but yet we see her hanging out with Selena Gomez. We see her we've seen so many paparazzi or hidden paparazzi caught photos of her and Travis Kelce out in Florida lately, or out in New York. Like, she's the most photographed lately. She was under the radar for months, and now suddenly she's out and about with everybody. She, I think, is just ready to move on from all of this, which I think buying back her masters and dropping that news was probably the smartest thing to do to deflect and move the news cycle out of Blake.
You don't need me. I'll just sit here and nod. That was brilliant. Absolutely. She was sitting there like, I'm not going to come out on this topic. I'm waiting for my own thing to come out on and let that just speak for itself. And that's the buying back of the masters. And that was brilliant. Now you look at all the people that were in that squadron, and I don't think it was like a tight squad. I think it was just, but the cool girl group of Miles Teller's wife. What's her name? Kaylee Sperry. Miles Teller's wife is very deep in with Taylor Swift, and of course Blake is there. Everyone's going to Taylor. If you got to choose between those girls, Joe Jonas's ex-wife. Help me with the name. Game of Thrones.
Sophie Turner.
Sophie, right over to Blake. I mean, right over to Taylor. Everyone over to Taylor. She's doing she gets the huge land grab.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see anybody siding with Blake. And I think maybe Taylor knew from the beginning, because never once did she lend any support to Blake Lively. Even when the CRD complained in the New York Times article first dropped, Taylor didn't. And listen, and Taylor, I think at this point, has made enough gambles, even, politically, when she spoke out against Trump and then she endorsed Kamala. Like, she knows when to lean into something if it matters to her. But in this case, it seemed like if that's one of your closest friends, you were friends for 10 years, you're the godmother of their children, and you also have so much power and influence over the public, and not once are you going to, before Taylor was even dragged into this, not once are you going to issue any sort of statement.
Yeah.
Is wild.
Are you writing a song? Is she writing a song about Blake right now? Because nobody gets away with crossing Taylor Swift like this and they don't get something. I mean, this woman knows retribution. She knows how to counterpunch. I wonder the fact that if she's not writing a song about Blake, that means there's some residual love still in there that's going to just let you go. I'm going to let you off the hook easily here, girl, but you got to go. You absolutely got to go, because what Taylor can't get over, I'm sure, is the playing off her name. Oh, yes, the dragon thing. But I mean, my friend Taylor thinks that this is amazing. My friend Taylor actually chose you, Isabel Ferrer. She actually looked at all the people that could play the young Lily, and she was like, I see something in her. What? Taylor Swift said that about me? Isabel? Oh, wow. No, she never said that about you. She doesn't know who you are. But Blake played that and used her name there over and over.
Yeah. Blue Ocean makes a good point. She has Selma Hayek in her court. Does she, though? Like, I feel like that was probably some backdoor. Yeah, that was some backdoor Publicist deal of, like, they had her meet someone and Blake just happened to know, or Blake snuck her way into that. I don't think that they're genuinely friends.
I think it's a beautiful moment. I'm sure they're like, let's just get together. I mean, I wanted to, and then you whisper to the paparazzi, we'll be having lunch at a very small cafe. No, and I don't. By the way, the more she can do that, see, this is what Blake is doing, and they're trying to appear their way out of this. Appear certain places, get just disregard it, put out news about my brown beauty and how my business is really growing, and put out this, and then the Wrexham thing, and our soccer team is now going up to the league just below Premier, which is amazing. Ryan Reynolds does have the Midas touch. And just sort of outrun it, which is never going to happen, not in this day and age.
I did see that Blake, even though she's no longer emotionally distressed and her business is struggling, she did just announce that she's launching 2 new Betty Boo's drinks.
Oh, good. Pineapple?
I think it is. They're
like
inspired. They're inspired by another simple favor. They're going to be vodka iced teas, passion fruit, and lemonade.
Another simple favor. I tried to watch it. Was maybe the worst movie I've seen in the last 3 years. It was a giant steaming. If the taste of this drink is inspired by that movie, this is poop soda.
So here's my thing. Here are her two new flavors, her 2 new vodka iced teas. I tried the bourbon ones. The interesting thing with the bourbon, because they had it at Whole Foods. I mean, I'm seeing her products pop up more and more the more I'm out. And I did try the bourbon ones. The interesting thing was it was a bourbon like cocktail seltzer, which to me, bourbon drinkers or whiskey drinkers, you don't typically drink it in a seltzer. You don't typically drink it in a mixed drink. Like a bourbon drinker or whiskey drinker, you typically drink it neat or maybe, with a whiskey rock in it. But
think of every television show that we're watching right now. Whenever they pour a cocktail, it's always, whether it's Mobland, whether it's Ransom Canyon, Yellowstone, whatever it is, my friends and neighbors, they pour a little neat glass of brown. That's the way whiskey, rye, bourbon, scotch is consumed. Absolutely. And by the way, take it from a man who has tried and failed. I launched a business years ago with a friend of mine called Beach Whiskey. And it was clear whiskey in clear whiskeys in sea glass bottles, but it was clear whiskey. And you'd mix it with like soda. And we were like, this is it. Sea glass bottles. You can drink. Whiskey's really popular right now. People can drink it on the beach. I lost $1 million. I lost it. Everything.
People just didn't like that. It was it's white whiskey. White is that what they call it? White whiskey?
Yeah, I don't know.
Blanco?
Somebody bought it and they have the brand somewhere. So I don't want to say anything terrible, but it wasn't for me either. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
people might like this.
Hot take in terms of another simple favor, because you said you saw it and it was the worst movie.
Oh.
I think had it come out without the stink of this lawsuit, had she not lodged this war against Baldoni, I think the movie would have come out and I think she would have been fine. I think people would have watched the movie. They would have liked it for its like campiness. And I think it would have deflected from her being known as a diva last summer with the rumors from It Ends With Us.
I'll go a step further and say she's the best thing in this steaming pile of poop. She's good in it. She plays an amazing psycho. Not to make that connection, she's a good actress, and she's really good in this terribly written, weird telenovela, over the top. I think it missed the mark from the first, but which people loved. I think it was a bad movie, but I think she actually would have been fine because she was good in it.
Yeah, I agree. Switching over though, I wanted to chat because I know you similar. I mean, I guess more to give some advice to Justin Baldoni, but like you went through your own big Hollywood reckoning, and now you're back. You have the Hot Mics podcast, which is great. Love every time I get to come on. But what made you pivot into podcasting? Was that something that you wanted to do willingly? I mean, obviously you're back on TV now too, but podcasting is such a different forum from being a TV host. Yeah. Was there any reluctance? Did you scoff at it a little bit?
It wasn't scoffing at it. It wasn't scoffing at it like, look at me, mainstream media guy with my television show. I don't need to go do this. It was more fear. It was fear that I wouldn't be successful at it, like a negative voice, creeping in, like we all have, saying, you're better just in the safe machine, but you're suffocating yourself the whole time. I've lived 24 years in this business. I know everyone. The Rolodex is through the roof. I can reach out, and I've built this network, but for what? I mean, it's time to use it. Plus, all the experience. I have a story with name a celebrity. I'll tell you an amazing story about them or something that happened to me. I've got the ability to fill in a lot of context, and also other interests like sports and politics and whatever else is in the zeitgeist. So, and I think, what am I doing? I should go to work for myself. We invest in companies like, here's a startup. I'm going to put a little money into it and see if it works. Betty
Yeah.
Boop drinks. Why not invest in yourself? Why not like have a little pride and try and make it? So I put some money in. I built a team, and we're doing it, and it's working. It's exponentially growing, and I feel it. I know it's working, and I'm excited, and I get to say whatever I want to say. And I'm the head of
Yeah.
human resources, like you. I can
Yeah.
fire myself if I want. It's a wonderful, liberating thing.
I also
Now
feel
we got to
like
make money.
yeah, it takes a minute, but when you get over the hump, I promise it's worth it.
Send me some seed money, Zach. I'm just a little fish here. I can see this wonderful big shark above me. I'm just going to grab onto your tail.
Listen, it's so liberating and freeing once you kind of are over that hump, and because then again, like, you can't be canceled because the audience is loyal to you. You're not being beholden to, any figureheads. I can now know that I can come on the podcast and say whatever I want.
You can. I always joke with people, having, and for those if there's anyone out there who doesn't know, I lost my job in 2016. I was at the Today Show for 2 months. I was half, because of the Trump bus tape. I was the guy riding on it in 2005 with Donald as he was saying crazy things. I made a terrible mistake by laughing at those outrageous words. And I got fired. He became president. It's a wonderful irony that's never lost on me. But it sent me into the wilderness, Zach, for 3 years. I couldn't work. The people who loved me were like, "We love you, but it's not now." And some people didn't take your calls. And it's an unbelievable feeling to know what it's like to be down and out and not in favor and all of that. But boy, time has a way of setting the record straight or healing things. And now this very name right here was the thing that I guess silenced me 8 years ago. And now it's the vehicle. It's the title of the show. It's the vehicle for your authentic voice. So,
I mean, and that's a great way to repackage that. You were caught on a hot mic, blew up your career, and then you came back and used the hot mics to redrive the train. But now
because I like the idea of a hot mic. Like, a hot mic means things are happening on it, and they're right. They're urgent and they're interesting. So I'm like, wait a minute, let's do hot mics. Let's do the show live, like you do, which takes extra chops. You're on a high wire with no net, and let's go for it. And so it's actually a wonderful vehicle.
Yeah, I agree. And again, you have such a background in hosting and in entertainment journalism that it kind of worked out. But did you feel like you were ever going to get out of that hole when it first happened? Everyone stopped taking your calls. No, there was no employment in sight. Like, I just want to understand that mindset at that time, because people were getting canceled left and right, and how you were even able to move through that and then come back again.
Well, I was ground zero, for it, and it was. You got to remember the time. Like, it's still kind of like that now, because Trump really brings out a lot of emotions in people, good and bad. His fans love him to death. I've never seen a president with fans. It's interesting, but his detractors are also wildly passionate. So at that time, there was just so much emotion and around him that I just got swallowed up by a tsunami. So down I went. They paid me off. Plus, I've gone into this before. There was major politics at the Today Show. The women loved having me there, and it was super fun. Kathy Lee and Hoda and Chanel and Tamron, all the women, we had a blast. The men, Matt, Al, they were not comfortable with a younger man with a full head of hair coming in and having fun with people. And so I wasn't welcome there. It's a combination. So you got the mean girl politics, and then you got this huge moment, and they both met perfectly for me to go down. But being out for so long, boy, it taught me a lot. It taught me just to be somewhat. No one goes unscathed. Everyone's got some kind of shit. I'm not special. My circumstances are unbelievably unique.
Yeah,
But I'm not
and
special.
I will say, once you kind of go through that wreckage and you kind of crash the train, and then you get out and are able to stand on your own 2 feet again, and then the scars heal, you realize I can make it through anything at this point. Like, I can
Yeah,
get
I
hit by
walk
another train
around
and
with a
keep
big
going.
smile, and everyone I meet, people I meet who, 5 times the amount of people know you because of that. I mean, entertainment, they know me in China, so it's kind of hot mics. We've got people. I talk to people from like Finland and all these crazy places, and you're like, oh, they make that connection all the way back, and they're like, wow, we love you. You're a good guy.
Yeah. I guess, I mean, and that's a good point with like Baldoni. He was like, I'd never heard of Baldoni. I'd never watched Jane the Virgin. I don't ride for him because I was a fan of him before. I just, decided to go in the direction that I found the truth to be taking me in. And again, we don't know where this train will end with Blake and Baldoni, but I've leaned more on his side. But now he has become so much more of a household name. Do you think he has a career in Hollywood after this? I mean, I know he's doing production, he's producing new films and allowing other leads like Scarlett Johansson to kind of be at the forefront, but do you feel like he's always going to have this stink on him if he doesn't
He's
win
either
in
gonna
court?
win or it's gonna be a tie, or a walk away. And I think, like I said, I mean, most people, the court of public opinion is very much in his corner. So he's not coming back from much. I think it's more on Blake. I think people see him. He's a weird guy. I mean, he's definitely a weird dude. I don't know that, but is he? Imagine if he is guilty of what she's accusing him of. Then he's the biggest fraud that ever lived.
Yeah.
He's doing TED Talks about being a better man. He's sitting in Baha'i circles about how we're all, one love, and women and men are so. He's a male feminist. So he's doing the podcast he did with that traitor Liz Plank, who dumped him like a hot rock as soon as he got. What a shame. Someone look into that woman. But I think he's fine. And he's also, if it means he's not acting for a second, he's still producing and directing, and they've fertile ground over there. Lots of material. I think he's great. He'll be fine.
Do you think there's any future for her, even if she does win?
Probably eventually. I mean, listen, the best thing that came out of this movie is the giant profit it made. I think she'll get back. I think people will forget and move on eventually. Maybe quiet for a minute, but every actor's had quiet for a minute. Sylvester Stallone, Kevin Costner, the biggest stars on the planet. They're all hot now again. They were quiet for years.
Yeah. I mean, Paul Feig will throw some money at her again. He seems to take a liking to her.
He seems to be brainwashed, and he'll put her at anything. And then there's Ryan. I don't know. The interesting thing is Ryan, because that Deadpool thing is, I think he's got the Midas touch, and he's Teflon in a way. And I don't think he
Marvel
gets
behind him.
I thought he was going to get a little damage, but I don't think so. I think
I don't think so. I don't think any of the comic book nerds or the Marvel fans care this deeply about this stuff. That I just don't think it won't.
I think he'll stop doing, so-and-so pool and making fun of nice pool and Blake pool and all these other things. He may hone it down a little bit and stop, Easter egging.
Yeah. Other big headline generator right now is the Diddy trial.
Oof.
What do you think is going to happen with this? We're coming to a close on the trial now. I feel like there were a lot more stars that I think we were expecting to hear from. We heard that there were all these tapes that Diddy had. He was blackmailing people. People were expecting Jay-Z to be brought into it, Beyonce, the Kardashians. So far, none of those names have come forth. All we've had is Cassie. Aubrey O'Day didn't even get to take a shot at the stand.
Yeah, we've had Jay-Z, and that did not go well. His counterpunch was heard throughout the world. That guy Tony Busby, who was telling us I've got 120 names and I've got more celebrities. You're not going to believe what's going to happen when you hear this A-list rollout. And then he launched with Jay-Z, who went, boom, hit the guy so hard he's not even allowed to practice in the state of New York. He's gone. He's removed. He's in Siberia. So forget about that. And then the next big name we've heard is Michael B. Jordan, but that was only like, hey, the stylist setting up Michael and Cassie when she was single. He didn't do anything. So we've heard Beyonce and Rihanna yesterday, like name drops, but they're not showing up. I think the biggest celebrity they had, the biggest name was Cassie Ventura. They opened with her. And at the beginning of this trial, I thought Diddy was dead as a doornail and we'd never see him again. And now I am not so sure, because this jury has to say, okay, this woman was so Stockholm syndrome struck and loss of complete agency that she stayed with him for 11 years. That's going to be tough. And then it's really about racketeering. And, Diddy's not saying I'm a good guy. He actually admitted, I'm a terrible guy, a domestic violence perpetrator like you wouldn't believe. I did all that.
Yeah. But the thing is, he's not on trial for his character. And he's not on trial for his kinks. And I feel like that's a lot of what we're getting, is the showing what a bad guy he is, but not necessarily showing the criminal enterprise that he was running, with all the people that he had control of and the blackmail. I mean, even when we saw the hotel staffer that came out this week and said, yeah, we asked him for $50,000 to delete the tape. And I'm like, you guys asked him for the money. He didn't even threaten you. You gave him the $50,000 number. And
I thought he gave him 100,000 in a paper bag.
He ultimately gave them more. So they asked for 50 and then he gave them 100.
Yeah, he wanted that. He wanted that silent. But the prosecution closes. Who knows? Could be today, whatever. And then Diddy's defense gets going, and who knows what they're going to bring. But the biggest stuff was Cassie.
Yeah.
And that
I feel
was
like the defense really shot her with the text messages and
build up to Cassie. I don't know why they should have. But why are we opening with that and still going? Or hit Cassie, do another week, and then be done with it. I mean,
I think they had to open with her because she was pregnant.
Of course.
They didn't have a choice.
We've now got a third child for Cassie. That's it. Oh my God, Cassie might be the reason. This shit that he goes free because they went early.
Yeah, they came out swinging with Cassie, but I think it's really because they didn't have any other choice. She may have been the closer for them, but there was no way she was going to hold that baby in until the end.
Oh my God. Zach, I didn't even think of that. Oh my God. This is why you got to subscribe to No Filter with Zach here. It's little things like that, eye openers. Probably everyone else is like, yeah, idiot. But I never even put that together. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. We have the defense that's up next. But speaking
what's this dangling people over a balcony like Suge Knight did to Vanilla Ice? I mean, he did it to this woman. He's watching too many Sopranos movies. Stop with the dangling. Oh, such violence.
The dangling, the blowing up cars, which now we saw the photos of the car. It was really just one seat.
He's in his own movie.
He threw spaghetti at Mia.
And you're talking about the kinks. I mean, what guy brings all the accoutrements for a freak off to New York to the hotel room? He's like, I got 11 days here. They're going to come at any moment. The feds are going to arrest me, but I can probably squeeze in another freak off or two. Wow. That's commitment.
If nothing else, he is committed to his lifestyle. Yeah. I know we talked about Cassie having her baby, but we have another baby mama that is taking center stage, and that is Meghan Markle. Did you see her latest video? Here, I'll play a clip for us. TMZ shared this.
I love it. That's it.
Come on, let me see you get gone. Baby mama, this your song. Been pregnant for way too long. I tell the DJ, turn it off.
She's really trying to rehab her image.
Harry in the frame.
There we go.
I like Harry's first guy.
Drop it down, low. Drop it down, low.
Dude, I gotta say, this is the worst thing to happen to Meghan Markle haters. If you are a chronic addicted hater, this is a terrible piece of video because what it shows me is actually a good marriage. like they're playful, they're fun together. She's dancing as a pregnant woman. She's got definite moves. She's twerking a little bit. I'm sorry, you got to give it to her. Yes, did she do Granny dirty, throwing that racist bomb into the royal family? Absolutely, but
she did. Remember, the new narrative is they never called her racist. They just heavily alluded to it, but they never actually used the word.
Someone might have said this. I don't know. All I'm saying is that you got to give her that. That was pretty good.
Yeah. So here's the interesting thing, though, is people are watching. Here, I'll pull it back up. That way we
don't tell me that it's not it's a fake room.
No, a fake baby bump.
A fake bump. It's too high. There's no way she staged herself in a room. She would be crucified to the ends of the. She's going to get crucified anyway. But what if it was fake? The bump, the whole thing. No way. Yeah. It's real and it's cute. And if you're a Meghan hater, you just lost.
Here's my thing, though. Here's my thing with Meghan and this video. Had she released this then when it was like these were trendy TikTok videos, I feel like she could have won the people over by giving us this side of Meghan and Harry.
Win the people over. I think she did. Zach, are you a committed Meghan hater? Can you not bring yourself to say that's cute?
It's totally cute. It's cute. Adorable. I think the belly is real. I don't think it's fake. I don't think this was a Beyonce belly fold moment. I think I mean, I personally like seeing more of a personality from Prince Harry. I think the fact that we get a little personality out of him is even better.
Excuse me. Let's not forget Harry in Vegas when he would go to the pool parties over there at the, at whatever, Planet Hollywood, or in his little hat and his little fedora with the chicks. Oh, Harry was a beast in the day. I like to see little touches of that. I don't always like to see him in his, dark blue, midnight blue suit at some event, as the keynote speaker. I like old Harry.
Yeah, I agree. I just wish they would give us more of these sides of them. And I think the Meghan Markle haters, I think I've definitely been very judgmental of her, but I will give a win when there's a win. But I just wish we would have. It's clear that they were making these videos at that time, that I just think had they really opened us up to this, rather than with Meghan and the Meghan we see in this video are two completely different people. I just think she has to always be in control of the narrative, and so that's why the timing of this video.
Look at, it's posted without like count and without and comments turned off. So she knows, like, oh God, here it goes. Everything is so thought about and probably, considered, and there people weigh in, and she just probably had to muster the courage to put this out there, and like, they're gonna kill me again. And it was actually, it was cute.
Where do you see the two of them going as she tries to navigate her career moving forward?
I don't know. I mean, this whole vibe right now of female founder is the thing. It's influencer. Okay, bye. Now it's like female founder. Hailey Bieber's our new female founder. Kylie's a female founder. Kendall, Kim, they're all female founders. $1 million isn't cool. What's cool? $1 billion. There's all of this. And Meghan wants in that crowd, except she hasn't founded anything yet. That's that. So she's doing the interview side to associate with founders. And we'll see what happens. Maybe as ever becomes something.
Yeah. Donna Bowling says, Billy is killing the game. I love his coverage of Karen Reed and Blake Lively.
Daily dose of Donna. She lives right down the street. Hello, Donna. I love his coverage of Karen. Oh, Donna and I are very obsessed with Karen Reed. I cannot get enough of this trial.
So you think Karen Reed's being framed?
Oh, without a question is she being framed. I mean, and there's just stuff every day. I mean, Yuri Buchanan is on the, he called and amended, he amended the file of what happened, his first registered call of what happened at the scene. There was a cocktail glass. What happened to the cocktail glass on the head? What happened to the dog? Where's the dog? They're trying to disgrace it. This is not Alexis. Alexis is not doing this to anyone's arm. I don't care what the speed is. She is completely being framed. I'm sure of it.
Yeah. I haven't followed
Here come the free Karen readers. Absolutely. I'm thinking about going to Boston for the trial and just being there and just getting in the middle of all this craziness.
How much longer do we have of the trial?
Oh, it's going to wrap up next week, I bet. I mean, the defense has taken over. The prosecution rested with this like accident reconstruction guy who painted himself with blue paint and said, "See, look what it was the most unconvincing, embarrassing finish, in my opinion." And now the defense is going in, and they have killers. Alan Jackson is the main lawyer, and you've got Robert Alessi, who's killing people. And I think there's no way that 12 people are going to say she emphatically backed up. So it's another mistrial at the very least.
We'll see. All right. And everyone can go watch Daily Dose Donna and Hot Mics with Billy Bush to keep up with Karen Reed, Blake Lively, all the latest headlines. You're on YouTube and TuneIn, correct?
I'm on TuneIn with the audio and YouTube. Please subscribe at Hot Mics with Billy Bush. Come on along for the ride, and I appreciate it. It's exciting.
Thank you, Billy.
Zack, I love you. You're really terrific, man. Thank you.
Appreciate you. All right. Have a good one. We just got a new update. I guess the Judge Lehman has ruled on the Edgeworth security subpoena that Jennifer Abel was trying to dig up from Stephanie Jones. It looks like he quashed that for lack of evidence. A loss in court for Jennifer Abel, but I don't foresee Jones' work and Stephanie Jones going very far in all of this. I think Blake likes to willingly not use teeth, but I think Stephanie Jones' teeth have been knocked out in all of this legal drama. But yeah, that's the latest update that just came in right now. But thank you to Billy Bush. Thank you to Daniel Forouzan. Daily Dose of Donna in the house. But Daniel, you can follow Daniel Forouzan at Forouzan Law. He is an attorney. He specializes in all of these cases. We also have Billy Bush. You can check him out on TuneIn and YouTube. Go subscribe to Hot Mics with Billy Bush on YouTube right now. You can listen to No Filter with Zack Peter on all your favorite podcast platforms, or you can watch on Spotify and on YouTube. We stream live Monday through Friday mornings at 9 a.m. Pacific. And also be sure to get your tickets to the Zacktivated Tour. I'm coming to Dallas, Phoenix, Philly, Toronto, Brooklyn, Chicago, Seattle, and Los Angeles. If you love Donna Bowling is going to be with me in Brooklyn and in Chicago. Brooklyn and Chicago. And Donna and I also have another special announcement that I'm hoping we're able to make this week. So stay tuned for that. All right, guys, be sure to get your tickets at nofilterlive.com. July 11th, I'm in Dallas. July 13th, I'm in Phoenix. July 23rd, I'm in Philly. July 24th, I'm in Toronto. July 26th, I'm in Brooklyn. July 27th, I'm in Chicago. August 8th, I'm in Seattle. And August 10th, we wrap things up in Los Angeles. Yes. Come on down. Get your tickets. Donna, come to Phoenix. I don't know. Maybe we can convince Donna to come to Phoenix. You have to DM her and tell her she needs to come to Phoenix. But get your tickets now at nofilterlive.com. I'm doing another giveaway. And this week's giveaway, so obviously we did the coffee date giveaway. Now I'm going to be doing a cocktail drink before the show giveaway. So if you buy your tickets and send me your confirmation, if you didn't win the coffee date, don't worry. If you did, you will get a notification from me directly. And if you did not win the coffee date, that's okay. You can resend me your ticket confirmation or purchase your tickets this week. Let me know what city you're coming to, and I will enter you to win a pre-show drink. You and I will have a drink before the show. Oh, Donna wants to do Dallas. Donna does Dallas. Well, Donna can't do Dallas, though. I think she can't. I think she's unavailable the 11th and the 13th. Something to do with her kids. I don't know. I'll have to ask her and see what her schedule looks like. But yeah, see, Donna said I can't actually. See, Donna, why are you getting them fired up in the live chat? All right, guys, get your tickets to nofilterlive.com. Get your merch. Go to nofiltermerch.com, or there's a link to buy tickets or to buy merch in the description below. Merch is, I'm doing another charity campaign in honor of my birthday. Like I said, the link to order is in the description below. Here, I'll pull up the site for you guys so you can see the new merch designs. We have new Never With Teeth shirts. We have new Zack Peter is my lawyer. We have Do I Look Like I Just Fell Out of a Coconut Tree? Justice for Justin, Zack Pack, Zacktivated. You can go order your merch now from Merch Labs. Go to nofiltermerch.com. I think Never With Teeth is my favorite. I even did I took some photos for the Instagram. I'll show you my photos for the Instagram. Here, let me see. So you can see how cute I look. Oh, look at there's me. Never with teeth. Boom, boom, boom. Never with teeth. We also have Zack Peter is my lawyer. Do I look like I just fell out of a coconut tree? Zack Peter is my lawyer. 1-800 So Yummy. Never with Teeth World Tour. And then, do I look like I just fell out of coconut tree? Justice for Justin. For right now, I'm donating all of my proceeds. So all the sales that come in until between now and June 15th, I'm donating 50% of my proceeds to Home Life Community to support individuals on the autism spectrum. So go stock up at nofiltermerch.com, or you can use the link in the description down below. All right, guys, I love you. I appreciate you. I will talk to you tomorrow. Give me a follow at Just Plain Zack. Follow the podcast at No Filter with Zack, and I will talk to you tomorrow morning. All right. Ciao for now. Love you. Appreciate you. Bye. Go watch Daily Dose of Donna. She's going live in an hour. All right. Bye.